In yesterday's video, we discussed the cost of being a Stormcast Eternal. It's rife with danger. You die several times. But now we're going to focus on how do they fight back. There's a lot of darkness within them, but how do they push back the darkness abroad? In this video, we'll be discussing the mighty Stormhosts of the Stormcast Eternal, how they're organized. And if you want to learn more about specific ones, like say the Hammers of Sigmar, go tune in to Mini Wargaming. They allowed me to come on their channel every once in a while and plug some lore about the various Stormhosts. This week, coming out on Thursday, is going to be the Hammers of Sigmar. So go check it out. And to begin this video, we need to describe a few terms. There's Stormhost, Chamber, and Conclave. Now, going through them one more time, the Stormhost is the biggest category of Stormcast Eternals. This defines color scheme. Whenever you think of various schemes and organizations, usually it's through Stormhost. This is also how the Battle Tome organizes special rules. So, for example, the Hallowed Knights, Hammers of Sigmar, Knights Excelsior, etc. I think you know what I mean. Chambers operate within a Stormhost, so it's kind of an organizational structure. And what this is a specialized group of Stormcast devoted to harnessing a specific set of skills. And we'll cover a little bit about those. Then the smallest organizational structure is the Conclave. And what these are specialized fighting forces with units drawn from multiple chambers. And with this we see the large to small scale of how these forces conduct warfare, but let's dig into each to get a clearer understanding. Stormhosts are the most notable, as I said, distinction of Stormcast Eternal. Each has its own color scheme, pageantry, and iconography. And oftentimes, Stormhosts will all have strong personality traits in common. For example, all Anvils of Heldenhammer, the black-armored Stormcast Eternals, is their most notable feature. They all have a strong sense of dour and somber attitude about them. Hallowed Knights tend to be the most faithful and hopeful, and Astral Templars tend to be more feral, more tribalistic. When Sigmar was taking heroes from across the realm, this is how he organized them, likely by whatever the strongest features that soul possesses, whether it is a faithful soul who cried out to Sigmar in an act of devotion before their death, meaning a Hallowed Knight, or they were part of a hunting tribe that struck down the Chaos Warlord right before they were killed. That might make them an Astral Templar. And with this, he's able to organize these kind of vast, unending forces by things like faith, determination, feral aggression, etc. What that means is that every Stormhost has a unique culture, and if you are defining your own lore, creating your own, this is a great way to kind of create a theme for your army. Astral Templars are bold, they wear pelts of animals they've hunted, they celebrate the killing blow, the hunt itself, those kinds of things. Hallowed Knights focus on religious zeal and faith and iconography. And more than just a practical way of organizing people, this goes a long way to bonding kindred spirits in battle. You trust your brothers more when you're all birds of a feather, if you will. They're all cut from the same cloth. And this also, interestingly enough, serves as a dual purpose because when a Stormcast comes back from a reforging and is different, because you're all so similar, differences stand out more. So you get to see the effects of reforging more pronounced as you're following the narratives of these various Stormhosts because the people who come back are so different. Where a Hallowed Knight might once be jovial and hopeful, now they come back somewhat dour and without humor, that stands out like a sore thumb. So narratively, it gives us a great window into seeing those changes in action. Now we're going to move into the various chambers. Now we're going to spend some devoted time talking about the chambers and the units within them throughout the rest of the week. But simply put, if Stormhosts organize warriors by what reflects their souls, chambers organize them by skill set. And before we begin, it's important to note that not all the chambers have been opened. Some are still in development, some are just hidden away doing other various tasks. For example, the Sacrosanct Chamber, which was just opened in the Soul Wars series, has always been there, but they've been busy working the Anvil of Apotheosis. Now something has gone wrong with that, which we'll talk about in another video. And so the Sacrosanct Chamber has been unleashed to the battlefield. So they did exist, they just didn't exist in a battlefield capacity before. But right now the open ones are the Warrior Chambers, Exemplar, Harbinger, Extremis, Vanguard, and Sacrosanct. And we'll go into each of them a little bit and explore the units in this week's videos. It's also important to note that almost every Stormhost has access to every chamber. When I say almost, not all of them have access to, say, an Extremis chamber, which we'll talk about. It's where the ones all the Dracoths and the Stardrakes. And there's a reason for that narratively. But this allows you to kind of customize your own Stormhost. The major ones have access to everything. Smaller ones who are reforged and founded later may not. but they may or may not use the ones they have access to, depending on their culture. If a Stormhost really doesn't enjoy long-range combat, they probably won't have a very extensive Vanguard auxiliary chamber, which is the Hunters and Paladors, those kinds of things. They may favor more aggressive approaches with warriors on foot doing melee combat. And after a Stormcast is forged, they are assigned to a Stormhost first of all, and then to a specific chamber. And there they are taught to fight and harness the power of the storm. And over hundreds of years, they're taught to master a specific weapon as well. And this really fundamentally is what makes the Stormcast what they are. For example, the difference between a Liberator and a Judicator is that one has hand weapons, one has a bow. But you're mastering a specific weapon. Now, it used to be that after a Stormcast dies in combat and they are reforged, they had to retest their skills. So if you were a Judicator who was struck down, you had to go back to archery school to prove that you didn't lose anything in the reforging process. The idea was to have a very cautious approach to putting soldiers in the battlefield to make sure that they are still the best of the best of the best. However, that edict has been repealed since the war has escalated. People are dying. Stormcasts are dying faster than they are being reforged, and so there is a bottleneck that happens at the Anvil of Apotheosis. So we need more warriors. Let's get rid of that edict that says you have to go back to school. Throw them straight back into the battlefield. And it's important to note the stresses that puts on the entire system, because as we're beginning to see more and more effects of reforging and memory loss, and people are not as good in combat as they used to be, those kinds of things, it begins to matter more. For example, if you are a Liberator who fights in a perfect shield wall formation, and one of your guys comes back reforged, and he can't hold his shield right, or he doesn't fall into formation properly, that weakens the entire organizational structure. It weakens the entire fighting front. And those things really matter. And to be honest, we rarely see chambers go to war. By that I mean it's very rare for an entire, say, extremist chamber to ride out together, because usually their forces are divvied out amongst various conclaves, which is what we're talking about now. And conclaves are really what we see in the stories. A Lord Celestant will gather forces from various chambers, put together a team that's designed to achieve a specific mission. Right, that Lord Celestant will take various elements. I'll take a few guys who are riding on Dracoths, a few paladins, give me some prosecutors for scouting, some judicators for long-range support, and a bunch of liberators to form a shield wall. For example, the opening of the first Realm Gate in Akshi during the Realm Gate Wars had Vandus Hammerhand, and he really just had a bunch of liberators, a few paladins, a Lord Relictor, and some prosecutors to actually open the gate. Everyone had a mission, in the sense that the liberators came from the warrior chambers, prosecutors from the harbinger chamber, retributors from the exemplar chamber, and in their kind of battlefield roles, liberators formed a shield wall around the Realm Gate. Prosecutors, their mission was to strike lightning at the gate to open it and unlock it, and the paladins just took out heavier targets of opportunity. Most stories involve a big mix of forces taken from various parts of different chambers. And because of this, conclaves can act almost independently. They have all the resources they need to function on the battlefield solo. This also, if you step back, if someone's just taking a unit here and a unit there, you can actually have a single chamber be split across hundreds of battlefields, and it allows for a lot of tactical flexibility. At the Stormhost level, meaning the hammers of Sigmar can be in every realm simultaneously because bits and pieces of them are scattered about, and also on the battlefield level because your Lord Celestants can take whatever resources they need to accomplish the job right. And on a tabletop perspective, probably the most important thing, it means you can design any force that you want and it will be thematically accurate. It allows for very varied armies with a lot of flexibility on the tabletop. And the reason I took some time to really talk about the structure of these things, it's not the most exciting video, I understand that. The reason I take the time to do it is because as we talk about the various units that make up this army throughout the week, it's important to really understand how they fit together. As I've done Lore Week videos in the past, people often comment, is it thematic if I have this unit with this other unit? Well, when you come to a Stormcast Eternals army, because they have this structure that no one else does, and they're able to draw forces from various places and deploy them in very, very unique and different ways to achieve specific missions, the answer is almost always yes. Varied and mixed forces are really built into the themes of this army, and that's a very important note to hit on. And also, I really just wanted to hit and drive home the fact that Stormhosts are so unique in the way that they organize kind of the nature of the soul, and I don't think really many other forces do that. You'll see with like Agnus Dei X Enclaves or Daughters of Cain temples, they may have general battle tactics that they all kind of follow and different temperaments, but nothing as much as identifying core parts of someone's soul. Stormcast Eternals were already mighty heroes before their forging, and this is who they are. This is what exemplified their lives. Faithfulness, bravery, those kinds of things. And so Sigmar has taken those and made dedicated armies out of those personality traits. And when you get that many people who are devoted to a single thing in the right place with the right equipment, there's not a lot of foes that can stand before them. What this also means is, as reforging happens and the souls begin to be chipped away and twisted and warped, you see the extremes of those personalities. So Hollow Knights go from faithfulness to violent zealotry. Astral Templars go from people who relish in the thrill of the hunt to being feral and pack-minded. And so these Stormhosts give us a great window into what is going on with reforging. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, people have often asked me to do videos about various Stormhosts, and I have, except that I would reached out to Matt at Mini Wargaming and asked if I could share some content with his audience. And so over the next couple weeks, you're going to see videos from me on Mini Wargaming regarding the various Stormhosts. The first one coming out this Thursday is going to be Hammers of Sigmar, and I think you're really going to enjoy what I put together for them. I'll likely have some of the minor ones here on my channel as well, and I'm happy to share those with you. So friends, join me tomorrow as we explore the various strike chambers of the Stormcast Eternals, those warriors who make war possible and the conduit through which we see all the changes happening to the soul. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons over on Patreon. Patrons always share hobby progress, they're invited to do polls to decide what content we're doing next, and patrons of a certain level are entered into a raffle for every battle tome that I review. I buy them, do all the lore videos, and then raffle them off to my patrons. So if you want to join in with that, head over there. But if you can't, I completely understand. I just want to thank you so much for watching this video here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video. Thank you so much for watching, and happy wargaming.